Welcome back to the eSIM Studios YouTube channel. I have another buy this, not that phone comparison for you. I love doing these. It's fun for me to dig into the specs. We're going to compare two very different phones today. This will be a detailed comparison between the Google Pixel 8a and the OnePlus 12R. These are two prominent mid-range smartphones priced right around the $500 price point. The OnePlus 12R is highlighted for its superior hardware, featuring a larger curved display, more powerful Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, significantly faster charging. Conversely, the 8A is recognized for its compact design, better IP67 water resistance, and the inclusion of wireless charging, while the OnePlus excels in raw performance and battery capacity. The Pixel offers a more advanced AI-driven software experience and commitment to 7 years of updates. Photography comparisons, well, we're going to jump into that too. And the OnePlus does provide a metal build, glass combination, and ultimately the decision will be yours. And I got a lot of good detailed graphics here. I'm also going to link down below. We're going to go over everything, specs, head-to-head comparisons, prices. We know brand new, they're $500, but what about right now? What if you were thinking about getting this one? Maybe you were thinking about getting the Pixel 8a and you're doing some research online, but then, oh wait, the OnePlus 12R is a similar priced phone, so maybe you'll jump on that. But I do have prices, current market prices, for both devices. I'm going to put a link down below for my Notebook LM on this comparison. I have a lot of sources. I have podcasts generated. I have tables, infographics, flashcards, a mind map, a video overview of all of this. A link will be down below. Everything you're going to need, everything that we review here will be down below in the description box. Simply click the title. It'll expand that description box down below a little bit. So we have the Google Tensor G3 chipset versus the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. These are priced relatively the same, but two very, very different themes, different setups that we're going to jump into. One is on the smaller side. The Pixel 8a is a 6.1 inch OLED. It is a flat display, while the OnePlus 12R has a 6.78 inch AMOLED curved on both sides. This is not the quad nano curved. I guess the only quad nano curved would be Motorola's signature. Let's take the OnePlus 13, if you're familiar with that. The last few OnePlus phones in that generation have had curved displays. They just now, with the OnePlus 15, went with flat. But if you like curved, this is it. Now, I've had both the OnePlus 12, which I did a video comparison of yesterday. I've had the OnePlus 12 and the 12R. The 12R is more curved. There's more of a curvature. I did a video just explaining that, where these are not technically the same design as far as the displays. You think the 12R and the 12 have the same display? Well, they don't. I mean, this 12R is even more curved, if that makes sense. The 12 is more of a subtle curve, sort of more similar to the OnePlus 13 if you have ever had that. The 12R really curves, like it really feels like it's a waterfall display, like it falls right off of the phone. Now, here is the storage setup. So the Pixel 8a only has 8 gigs of RAM. And one downside about Pixel, there's no RAM expansion. So a lot of phones like Samsung, OnePlus, Xiaomi, Oppo, even if you get the base model with 12 gigs, you can still add on 8 to 12 gigs from your storage, and you can add that as your RAM. But Pixel doesn't do that. Now, I don't know why they don't do it. Well, I think I know why. And I think it's because they use lower UFS storage. They've never used the latest and greatest UFS storage. UFS storage has to do with internal memory, how fast the memory can exchange and read and write from within the device. Google's always used one or two old generation UFS storage. I think that's what it has. That's what it is. And of course, they're trying to cut down on costs, but only 8 gigs of RAM on the Pixel 8a. Now you have two options. This is the first year where they have actually given you a bigger storage variant. You have a base model of 128, but you can opt for a 256 gig. If you're considering getting the Pixel 8a, I strongly suggest getting the 256. In fact, I wouldn't even look for a 128. I don't care if it was $30. I would not take a 128. You would have to pay me to use a 128, but you know why? You're going to be out of storage before you know it. Literally, it'll be, I don't know, a month or two, boom, you're out of storage. And there's nothing worse than that. So we're going to, when we price this at the end, we're going to be looking at 250. I'll show 128, but we're going to look at 256. Now, on the OnePlus 12R, up to 16 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of storage. Could have sworn, again, that they have, no, it's just 128 or 256. So, same thing on the OnePlus 12R. The base model has 12 gigs of RAM, and the upgraded 256 has 16 gigs of RAM. And again, you can add on top of that as well with the RAM expansion. Battery, Pixel 8a, 4,492 milliamp per hour battery. OnePlus 12R, 5,500 milliamp per hour battery. Charging, this is the biggest difference in the whole entire comparison. 18 watts wired for the Pixel 8a, 7.5 watts wireless on the Pixel 8a. This thing would take forever to charge. Thank God it doesn't have the 200 charging cycle limit on there, but still at 18 watts, are you kidding me? It would take you damn near 2 hours to charge this thing. And this is where the OnePlus 12R shines. 80 watts and 100 watts wired, depending on where you're located, depending on what model, what region you purchase your phone in. I think for US, I believe, I can't remember, I've had so many phones, I think US is 80 watts. Which is, it's still like, damn, I want 100. Trust me, you're not even, it charges in like 20 something minutes. So it's not that big of a deal. Trust me. I've used this before. There's no wireless charging, but who cares? You want to plug it in, you'll be charged within minutes. Not a big deal. Unless you have like some wireless charging infatuation. Again, you can buy a case with a ring on it and put it up on your car for the MagSafe. They make tons of cases with rings in them for mounting your phone, but there's just no wireless charging in the OnePlus 12R. No big deal, whatever. Now, here's another huge differentiator. The Pixel 8a, 7 years of updates. 7 years of updates, and with the OnePlus 12R, 4 years of updates. So, as it says below, on paper, the OnePlus 12R dominates the spec sheet, but specs alone do not indicate the daily user experience. And there will be a trend. You'll start to see as we go through the parts of the phone in detail, kind of which one of these phones is for which type of person, if you catch the drift. Let's move on. Silicon. Let's see here. Silicon intent, what the chips actually do, because as I mentioned before, there is a huge difference in the way OnePlus brainstormed generating this product, and there is a completely different way Google take on a new project, a new phone, but these are basically geared for two different people. So the OnePlus 12R is, in my opinion, and I think everybody's opinion, more geared towards gaming, more geared towards the gaming enthusiast. Now, I'm also going to put in there for the editor. I remember using this phone to edit videos. And look, I'm not making movies here, but at least to chop up stuff, add overlays, add all sorts of stuff, effects. It'll render it in no time. The Pixel, little choppy when it struggles a little bit when rendering videos, especially in gaming. But maybe you don't edit videos, maybe you don't game. Well, that may be a perfect phone. But form factors, because these are two different devices, and not just internally, but externally as well. So the 8A is very pocketable, meaning it's a relatively small phone. If you like small phones, you would love this one. They actually have them in some really, really cool colors. So again, it's a 6.1 inch. It only weighs 188 grams. Very lightweight. Now, it does have a matte texture back that is plastic. The 8A has an aluminum frame. It uses older Gorilla Glass 3, which is more prone to scratches but boasts a superior IP67 dust and water resistance rating. Now, moving on to the OnePlus 12R is more of a premium build, more of a premium feel. It has a huge 6.78 inch, 207 gram device. Hefty, but feels premium, right? This is a mid-range phone with a premium build quality. Premium glass back with an aluminum frame. Features the highly durable Gorilla Glass Victus for drop protection. However, it's only IP64 rated for splash resistance only. So you cannot take this with you swimming or near a pool, dare I say. But, drop it in the sink when you're brushing your teeth. I think you'll be fine. But the Pixel does have it beat on that. I actually did some homework on this, and OnePlus was not, I'm not going to say they lied, but certainly not what they displayed on paper. And what am I talking about? Well, that's the peak brightness. Because in real world lab results, the Pixel 8A reached 1,498 nits. The OnePlus 12R scored 1,147 nits. Now, OnePlus claims it can get up to 4,500 nits, which 2 years ago, that was mind-blowing. Those are still decent enough. The Pixel 8A actually has a Pixels have always had bright displays, even on their mid-range phones. Now, the OnePlus 12R is certainly not dull by any means. When I had my 12R, I remember taking it outside, running errands, carrying it with me everywhere I go numerous times. I never once thought, damn, I can't see the display, or damn, it looks dull, or I can't increase the brightness anymore. That never crossed my mind. I was kind of shocked today digging into these stats, seeing that in the real world testing, they only got over 1,100 nits. That's what people are. Look, I don't have a nits tester. I guess I could get one, but I'm just letting you know that the screen brightness was never an issue for me with the 12R nor the 8A, right? So the Pixel, obviously smaller, flat panel. Now this has the Pixel 8A has an LTPO 1.0 panel, meaning 2.0 can go down to 0 nits, or not nits, 0 hertz up to 120 hertz. That's the 2.0. LTPO 1.0, the first version, the lowest it would go is 60 hertz, and then up to 120. 60 hertz, 120. On the OnePlus 12R, that has LTPO 2.0. So LPTO 1.0 on the Pixel 8A, LTPO 2.0 on the 12R. So the 12R theoretically can save better battery life, because that display, the refresh rate on the 12R can go all the way down to 1 hertz when you're not touching the screen, when you're just reading something, goes down to 1 hertz, ramps up to 120 when you're ready to rock and roll. That is a enormous battery life saver that a lot of people don't take into consideration. So make sure you keep that in mind. Remember, these are 2-year-old phones. So if you go buy one, essentially your battery is at 50% life. Typically, you need to replace a battery once every 4 to 5 years. Once every 4 years, I would say. And these have been out for about 2 years now. So you're going to want to take it easy on that battery. And that OnePlus going down to 1 hertz certainly does that. The cameras, what a ginormous difference this is. So you can see as we roll through these specs, it sways from huge advantages on the OnePlus side to huge advantages on the Pixel side, because I think, if you know me, if you know this channel, I think you know exactly where I'm going with this slide, with this graphic right here. The Pixel 8A blows away the OnePlus 12R in camera quality, video quality. Not to say the 12R sucks, surely doesn't, but what is Pixel known for? Photo, video quality Oh man, do I love Pixel photos. It's just brightens my day. I'm such a nerd. Okay, camera science, hardware versus processing. Because on paper, the OnePlus 12R, you might say, has the hardware on paper. And then you get to the Pixel, and that's where the Google does their pixel magic in the post processing. They just make everything look so much better. They add their pixel magic to those photos and videos, and man, they come out looking fantastic. Do you remember there a MKBHD? I know. Not supposed to bring his name up, but there's this one video that I do remember. Was it the 8A where he did a camera test? I think it was a couple years ago, where he did literally every phone that came out in 2024, did the camera test, and then he would say which one looks better. And then as each would get eliminated, the ones that you would say that passed each test would go. It was like a bracket testing. And guess what phone won that entire year of 2024? Guess what phone? And these were blind testing. You were just, hey, which photo looks better, A or B? Which photo looks better, A or B? What photo looks better, A or B? And as phones would drop off, the ones that people selected the most would continue, and then they would go head to head. Guess what phone won the entire contest? The Pixel 8A. Meaning the Pixel 8A beat out whatever the best Oppo phone was. It beat out the iPhone that year. It beat out even the 12R, even the 12 at that year. If I'm correct me if I'm wrong, but I know it was one of the A series. It was either the 7A, but I could have sworn it was the 8A. Regardless, the story proves my point that Google knows what they're doing when it comes to photos, and in low light, the Pixel is unmatched. Remember, Pixel created night mode. Now everybody has a night mode. Well, Pixel's the originator of the night mode, and they do it fantastically. And they don't cut any corners when you get an A series. I know you might think, it's an A. You gotta know when you're looking for a phone to buy, what are you going to be using it for? That's what you have to tell yourself. Is it just a side phone when you're going to pick up a few times a day, or is it going to be your daily driver? If it's your daily driver, that's a huge decision because you're going to be on it majority of the time. If it's your side phone, if it's your second phone that you're just going to use to take pictures, or maybe you have a brand new daughter addition to the family and you just want to use that phone for taking pictures as they grow up or through the years, perfect phone. I mean, it can be a daily driver. I'm just saying photos is where the Pixel shines. And you're not going to find many phones that are better. Of course, there are some, but you get the point, right? I guarantee you the Pixel 8A, I guarantee you the Pixel 8A right now, what are we, April 28th? I guarantee you the Pixel 8A takes better photos than the S26 Ultra. Sorry, it just does. It just does. Now, with the Pixel 8A, you get ultra-wide field of view. Let me throw up these stats. Hang on. Do I have the camera hardware on here? You get the point, right? The OnePlus 12R color and skin tone accuracy, it shines on that. And again, the 12R cameras don't suck. They're just it's up against maybe the best camera phone, not in history, but hands down, easy choice. So it's a tall task here for the OnePlus 12R. Superior low light detail. So let's move on to the sensory experience, shall we? Now this is a good one because the sound quality, something very underrated that not many people talk about. The OnePlus 12R has a very loud speaker. I do remember that thinking, damn, these speakers are loud. It's much louder, much more clearer than the 8A. Not that the 8A has bad speakers, but I think what this comes down to is just space. In order to have a good speaker, and it goes for phones, it goes for cars, it goes for any type of audio, you need volume in and around that speaker, specifically on the back side of that speaker, not the side you listen to it, not the side that is emitting the sound, but on the other side, on the back side of the speaker, you need volume for that air, for those sound waves to vibrate to emit a louder sound, right? Well, the 12R is a much bigger phone, It has a little bigger area, volume inside that little speaker housing to create a more true, a more better sound wave, sound vibrations coming through that speaker. I think that's what it comes down to. The Pixel 8a is a small phone. And look, let's face it, both of these are not flagships, so they're not using the very best speaker parts as a supplier that they can find for these specific phones. But I think that's what it comes down to. The 12R sounds louder, and I think it's because it just has more area inside that little speaker compartment to produce that. The Google Pixel 8a did have upgraded haptics in the 8 series. That's something people have been shitting on Google for years in the early Pixel years, and then finally with the 8 series is when they upgraded the haptic motors inside not just the 8 and the 8 Pro, but the 8A as well. They upgraded all the haptics inside there. The 12R does have nice, tight, snappy haptics as well. If I'm not wrong, hopefully I'm right. I think I am. The 12R uses the same haptic motor, vibration motor that its older brother or bigger sibling, the OnePlus 12, the premium flagship, and the 12R. They share the same haptic vibration motor. We're gonna get into power consumption, right? Power consumption. So going back to the batteries, the OnePlus 12R has a much bigger battery, 5,500 milliamp hours versus 4,492, essentially 4,500 versus 5,500. So the rated video streaming time for the 12R is 12 and a half continuous hours of video streaming versus 8.5 hours on the Pixel 8a. And then obviously here's a graphic for the charging that we were in. 30 minutes gets you a full charge. In fact, yeah, I was going to say in 27 minutes, it'll charge the OnePlus 12R. And I think, honestly, I think I had the 80-watt charger, and it charges in 27 minutes. Literally in no time. You go brush your teeth, wash your face in the morning, boom, it's charged. You hop in the shower real quick, boom, it's charged. You plug it in, turn around, boom, it's charged. Pixel 8a takes an hour and 46 minutes to charge. Who wants to do that? Seriously, an hour and 46 minutes? Seriously? Yeah, we'll leave it there. Longevity timeline, let's get into the software update. So remember, this has been out for 2 years already, both of these devices. So when we see here, the OnePlus 12R gets 4 years of software updates, 5 years of monthly security updates. So let's shave 2 years off of that. So you're going to get 2 more years. If you buy a OnePlus 12R right now, you get 2 more years of software updates, meaning, what is it on? What did it start with? So if we're on Android 16, it should have 16, Oxygen OS 16, you'll get Oxygen OS 17 and 18. It'll cap out at Oxygen OS 18 because I believe it launched with 14. So you'll get 2 more years of software updates, and then you'll essentially get 3 more years of security updates. And like I've said on previous videos, I'm more concerned about security updates. Software updates just bring like new features, new stylized icons or stuff, visuals. The security is where you're really going to want to focus. So I'm more concerned about that. So as long as you're getting a monthly security updates, and OnePlus does that now, as long as you get monthly security updates, you're good to use it. So essentially, the OnePlus 12R has 3 more years of life left. 3 more years of monthly security updates, 36 more updates. And the Pixel is at the top of the line with updates. They're the ones that issue the updates. So it'll get 5 more years of updates. This phone will run safely through Android 21. Now, it'll run Android 16. I know 17, the beta's out, but we're officially stable build 16. So you'll get 7 years of software updates and 7 years of security patches, monthly security patches, but it's been out for 2 years. So essentially you'll get 5 more years of updates and security patches. So if you're planning on getting one of these, again, 5 more years on the Pixel 8a of monthly updates, and you'll get 3 more years of monthly updates on the OnePlus 12R. The final verdict, here's what I'm going to go with. Now, like I say on every video, this is my personal opinion. Every phone is not for everybody, right? What I use my phone for is different from what you use your phone for. And I hate it how on some of these YouTubers, some of these videos, oh, you gotta buy this phone. Oh my God, it's so awesome. I mean, you may hear me say that, but it's out of personal. I'm never gonna like tell you need to buy this phone. Well, let's move on to pricing because I think I've discussed as much as I can about these things. Let's get out of here, but let's look at the prices first. Oh, I need to give my prediction. How could I forget? I personally, I'm going with the OnePlus 12R. Sorry, I've had both. Both are great phones, but for me, for what I do, give me that fast charging. Like I said yesterday, I'm a sucker for fast charging. It blows me away when I can charge a phone in 20 something minutes. Like it's just, I love that stuff. Nothing grinds my gears more. Nothing bothers me more than a slow charging device. It just, it frustrates me. So, plus you have a nice, big, beautiful display, long battery life. It's nice. It's nice. The OnePlus 12R is very nice, especially that shiny blue color. It's very nice. So I'm going with the OnePlus 12R, but that's just me. Now, let's look at prices. So this is the OnePlus 12R. Now, again, like yesterday, you can find them anywhere you go. You'll be able to find, maybe, maybe not. But Swappa is the best place to look for current market price, right? You can find these anywhere. Facebook Marketplace. eBay is probably going to be your best bet. But here's some I'm just throwing out. You can check. The OfferUp app, Mercari, Swappa, eBay, and am I missing any? But Swappa is the best place to go check for a fair market value. And then eBay is probably going to be your best bet to purchase. Now, you can certainly purchase on Swappa. I'm just saying, eBay, you probably get a better return policy with some sellers. But let's take a look. So they do have 128 and 256. You see these right here? I'm going to stick with 256 because you get more RAM in the OnePlus 12R. And who wants 128, right? So there's 3 listings right now for unlocked. The average price is $366. It's not bad. Starting price is $329. That's a freaking steal. If you need a second phone to do whatever on, pass the time and you're on the subway to work or whatever, this is a really, really good, cheap device to get. Here's the recent sales. One sold, well, that's 128. Let's do this. Let's bump storage to 256. We're going to do the same thing with the Pixel. So here you see last sales 380, 369, 386, 380, 387, 387, 300, 369, 359, 370. So you get a good idea. Average is 412. I would say it's less than that. Average price is 366 as we speak, with the lowest being 329. So remember that 366 and 329. Let's go to Pixel. Average sale price for a unlocked 256. Wow. $282 is the average price. Starting price at $199. So you can really see these launched right at about the same price. I think they both launched at $499. And obviously now the A series for Pixel starts at $599, and I think the R series for OnePlus does too. I think they rates it $100 now. I think they start at $599, but everything has gone up. But if you want to get on the game, it's a little cheaper with the 8A, but just remember, I think we went through everything, but I'll certainly link all of this down. Everything we're looking at, I'll link down below. Don't forget, if you want to dive into more details, even more than what we discussed, you can go down and check out the Notebook LM link. I'm going to make it public for everybody to view, and I'm going to have links for this Pixel 8A on Swappa, what we're looking at, and a link for the OnePlus 12R on Swappa as well. I do appreciate the time. Please let me know in the comments below, which one would you get? Even if you don't plan on buying one, just tell me which one. Pick one, 8A, 12R. I'm going with the 12R. Which one are you going to go with? And I also need your help. Not only pick a phone out of these two, I also need some help on comparing phones. I got a few in my brain here, but I want some input from you guys so I got this list of comparisons I'm going to make. So help me out. Recommend some good comparisons between phones so we can add to the buy this, not that playlist. Peace.